All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is the PGA Championship week here. We got another golf video on deck here. We're going to be looking into the Valhalla Golf Club again, PGA 2024. Like we always do, guys, I'm going to go through and talk about the course. Then I'm going to talk about some players that I think fit the mold and should perform pretty damn well at that course. But as always, keep an eye on the pinned comment of this video. I'll actually add in the specific plays, finishing positions, the matchups I'm rolling with that I am taking this week. If you do want to ride with me, or if you do want to fade me, go ahead and check out the pinned comment of this video. Last week at the Wells Fargo, another profitable week. We're like stumbling into good weeks here over and over again. I think we have just one golf week of the entire season. Now, we're not making a video every single week for golf. We're doing the elevated / signature events and doing the majors, right? So this being a major, but I think we've had 1 week that we were in the negative and it wasn't all that bad. But we go 4-3 from just a win-loss perspective, but obviously had some nice plus money cashes with Noren, top 30. Noren and Jaeger both being so close to cashing their finishing positions for us, but nonetheless, like I said, still profitable. But Noren top 30, Jaeger versus Finau, and then also our Siwoo top 20 plus 120. Nice 3 of our 4 wins being plus money, which is what you got to love about golf. But that's what the final plays in the pinned comment will look like, so make sure to keep an eye on that. But why don't we dive into this course because I have a few things that I do want to call out and I do want to mention about this course. And we haven't seen any play on this course for years because it's gone under renovations, but it's a long course. Again, this is Valhalla Golf Club. It's playing about 200, I think just under 200 yards longer than the last time we saw PGA players here. There is 6 par 4s on here that are over 470 yards long, 2 of which are over 500 yards long. So hitting your long irons, approaches, shots gained on the approach from approaches of 175 plus are super imperative here on this course. That is a bucket that we focused on, which you'll see in our model in just a second. There's a decent amount of water, but one thing I wanted to note is just by looking at this course and kind of going through it, right, you'll see a lot of greenside bunkers. So we have factored in a decent amount of greenside play, and I guess you could say sand saves for lack of a better term, obviously, as well. So that's in the model as well. Just looking at the weather, one thing to note here is it could be a little wet. I think it's supposed to be dry Thursday through Sunday, but the practice rounds leading up, we could see some wetness. So could be a slow course in terms of getting your rollout and whatnot. We'll see. I'm sure it'll firm up by the end of the weekend or even, after Thursday type of thing. But overall, this is going to be a course in which bogeys need to be avoided on. Greens in regulation are massive. Some of the rough around the greens, forget the set traps for a second, some of the rough around the greens have been grown out, and what we've seen in our research is that rough is pretty damn tough. So keeping it in the fairway and keeping it and getting it onto the green in regulation is going to be huge. But when you don't, we also have bogey avoidance filtered into our model here. So being able to be long, just because, like I said, if this course plays wet whatsoever, we're not going to want guys that are hitting it short and hoping for, some expected rollout. No, we want guys that they can carry it a far distance. So driving distance is filtered in. Bogey avoidance, on the greens and regulation is massive in this one. Sand saves. One thing that I didn't put too much weight in, as we kind of can dive into the model, honestly, is putting. Like, I just left putting as strokes gained putting. It's definitely worth considering. To win a major, you have to putt well, but it wasn't something that I focused on. And I noticed that even when using this site, Bet the Number, they create models for you and then you can tinker with them. They didn't have too much putting emphasis either. So yes, it's something that we're not necessarily going to want to see much red for, but I don't necessarily view it as a must-have. Like, I think when you win a major, I know when you win a major, the putter gets hot no matter what, right? Regardless if you're a good putter or not. So keep that in mind. Again, we're looking at some driving accuracy and driving distance because you want to hit the fairway, but you're not going to get much rollout. So driving distance and ball speed kind of baked in here as well. And then strokes gained on the approach, greens and regulation percent, as well as approach of 75 yard. That's strokes gained on the approach is something we've built in. And then, like I said, bogey avoidance. Those are the buckets that we're really looking at here. And you could see a few of these guys like Scotty Scheffler obviously kind of greens out the list. And all we're looking for here to make it simple for dum-dums like me is we're looking for a lot of green, not much red in terms of the buckets that we so choose, right? Rory also greens it out, but these guys' odds, you really have to bet outright to get any sort of value here overall. So I don't necessarily love that, especially just given the fact of how they've been playing so much. Like, you just don't have value playing so well recently, I should say. You just don't have the value that you'd think unless you're throwing them in some sort of a parlay or taking them outright. But even like a 4.5 to 1 win is crazy, but he did it at the Masters, right? Xander is the next favorite in this spot, and it's a huge jump, plus 1,400 for outright, right? I do like him, but this is probably going to be some sort of a matchup play. I have him starred. We'll get to my favorites in just a second, but we're kind of looking at the top of the list here. Then we go into Jon Rahm. The driving accuracy is just a little bit too much, out of the realm for me. I think there's like 120-ish guys in the field. For him to be, bottom third isn't something that I'm excited about, but he does obviously drive it far. The strokes gained on the approach, greens and percentage, and the approach from 175 made it tough to not throw him in there, but also recent form hasn't been playing the best golf. Brooks, someone else that I thought about, but greens in regulation was kind of a killer, and if he's going to make bogeys, it's going to kill us as well. Oberg, another guy, he withdrew last week, but this could be a solid top 10 spot, and I also really like him from a matchup perspective. Like, other than driving accuracy, which he's still 43rd in the field, you're seeing greened out across the board, so this could be a good matchup play if we can't find value overall in the top 10, top 20 type finishing position. And then Bryson. I know I talked about Rahm and then even Brooks and kind of having these looks of, well, they have a few reds in there. Why include them? Because Bryson has a major thing that I think is going to help in this course. This is a fairly wide open course. In fact, if we flash back, you're not seeing much water on it. Yes, there is some water, but overall, like even in the middle, like I know this is the driving range, but it's just very, very wide open. Not much out of bounds either, which is obviously important to note. So a guy like Bryson that, though the accuracy could get him in some troubling positions and lead to making bogeys, which is why those reds are there, the fact that he's number 1 in strokes gained off the tee, number 2 in distance, number 1 in ball speed, and even strokes gained on the approach, top 16, kind of had me feeling like he should be included here. So I think that's pretty good for the favorites in terms of like the actual favorites to win the tournament. Now, these are my favorites here. A few of them are definitely long shots. We have this filter here, you could see. We'll get to him, but Victor Perez here, obviously not something that I'm heavy on. But in terms of matchup plays, I do think probably these first 4 guys are matchup plays for us, because I'm not sure if we're going to be able to find the value in taking them, top 20, top 30, that type of thing. Bryson, top 20, perhaps. Wyndham Clark, I would expect almost, not playing. I would expect, I guess I should say, more of a better price tag for him. Recent form, you could see too, tied 47th. So in Wells Fargo. So I do think that, coming in and asking for a top 20 at just plus 175 may not be the move. So these top 4 guys, if we can even work them into some sort of a matchup, I do think could be the move. But once we move into these next few here, I think we have a few names that could be finishing position plays, like Byung-Young Han here. Top 30 here for plus 110. I also don't mind him at top 20. Driving distance, he's ranked number 1 in the field. Accuracy, it's a little on the lower end, but it's nothing that's going to kill us. Obviously, just based on this, we value driving distance and ball speed a little bit more. But what I like about him is his green and regulation percentage. On our list, he's the 3rd ranked guy here, right? Only beat by, exactly, we'll talk about him in a second, Noren, who's one of our favorite plays this week. And then it gets right to On. So I do think that this is a decent spot for him. And again, you're getting really good value, and it's not like he's terrible at anything. There's no red that we're considering here at all. And PGA Championship experience-wise, he did have a top 30, top 22, tied for 22nd back in 2020. Sahith Theegala is another guy that I don't mind here. I think that as he you look at his recent form here, right, as he kind of creeps away from being everyone's, what it seems, favorite golfer, is you're starting to get a decent amount of value on him. Plus 120, this is the first time in probably a week or so, 2 weeks maybe, that we've seen him at plus money in the top 30, so I see a little bit of value there. He's not excelling in anything. You don't see the deep green numbers, but off the tee, he ranks really well. Driving distance, he ranks really well, and then the approach and greens and regulation we like, and then the bogey bogey avoidance. You can't hate on a guy 31st in the field out of bogey avoidance when we just talked about this being a very important stat. Corey Conners kind of in a similar boat. I think there's decent value here, top 30 and maybe beyond into top 20. And by the way, when I mentioned these guys at the top, these top 4 being matchup plays, I also really like value in taking matchups on these guys. But a lot of golf is about taking plus money flyers, and that's why I'm talking more finishing position with these guys. But Corey Conners, I love the fact that, strokes gained on the approach, which is something that I would weigh just as heavily as any of that driving accuracy and distance. Second in the field on strokes gained on the approach. And then from that 175 plus yard distance, which is super crucial on this, like I mentioned, 6 holes, 6 par 4s on this are 470 beyond, and 2 of them 500. So hitting an approach shot and hitting a green from that distance is massive. He ranks 11th in the field. Then you get to Adam Scott here, kind of in the same boat as a few of these guys, where he's not doing anything super special, but he should be able to hang in here and to be able to get a seasoned veteran who, looking at his last 5 PGAs, has top 30s in all 3 of those, be able to get plus 165 there. Not all that terrible, right? Former major winner as well. And then maybe, again, second straight week where Alex Noren, I think, is playing really well. His recent form looks good, right? 24th last week. Of the last few events he's played in, comes in top 30. You can get him a decent amount at plus 175. We might even take a flyer at plus 320 there as well. And then Victor Perez here. The reason I have him in is because last year, PGA, top 12, bogey avoidance and greens and regulation percentage, 2 of the higher stats that we look at here, he ranks really well in, and he has no reds across the board. In fact, like I said, Bryson, the only one that we're kind of risking it here in a sense. For a plus 250 top 40 guy that has come in 3 of the last 4 PGAs he's played in, top 22, top 12. Yes, he got cut in 2021. I think there could be some value for Victor Perez in a top 40 and maybe even a top 30. Recent form, it's not like he's doing all that much, but again, we're considering top 40, right? Tied 46, tied 43rd, tied 45. He's teetering right around there. Prior to that at Houston, top 17. Like, this could be a dark horse for us. I'm not saying to win. I rarely ever take any winners or anything like that. But in terms of a dark horse, like maybe a top 40, top 30, top 20, Victor Perez could be a candidate here. So again, I'll take this. I'll let you guys take a screenshot of this if this helps it. It has the odds built in and sort of the reasoning and rationale behind it. If we were to take out my favorites and just look at it from the top of the leaderboard perspective, this is what we're looking at. If you guys want to take a screenshot of this, it might help you out in some of your matchups. But yeah, that's what we got for you guys in today's golf video. Let me know if you guys do enjoy these golf videos. We get tons of good feedback. Not a lot of views compared to, NFL, NBA, MLB, that type of thing. But I'm a huge golf fan myself. And I love betting golf. I think it's actually one of the most unique and fun sports to bet on because you're taking these plus money flyers. And when you have, a Noren who does cash for you and hits in your matchups and stuff, it is kind of damn cool. So maybe Victor Perez, if we can even get a matchup for him, could be a good move here, guys. But before we do close out, I do want to give a shout out here to BetMGM. If you guys are not on BetMGM, they have a great first time better offer right now, up to $1,500 paid back if your first bet loses. You want to sign up over there, deposit, bet $50 on something. If it loses, you'll get that right back. You'll be able to use it in bonus bets. And they also have plenty of boosts for the majors here, and this being a major. Go check it out. I have a link in the pinned comment. Go sign up for BetMGM if it's legal in your state. You'll get that, obviously, first bet offer. And again, they have tons of boosts and everything like that as well. It's a really, really underrated sportsbook. Even though it's one of the biggest sportsbooks, I still feel like people underrate the features and benefits of it. What I like about them is they do have ties included in a lot of their tournament finishes, which, if you know from betting golf, some books, though they have 2 different offerings, some books, if you are tied for 11th or tied for 10th, say, and you took top 10 on that guy, it actually splits it out between who was tied for 10th, so you wouldn't get your initial payout. I like that BetMGM in a lot of cases, especially in majors, has the ability to include those and count them as wins. So go check out BetMGM, guys. That link, again, is going to be in the pinned comment. That's what we got for Valhalla. Very excited for this tournament. I think it's going to be a difficult task. Very long course. You got to hit fairways. You got to hit those long irons really, really well. Avoid those bogeys. When you're in the sand, I do think that has some implication, but nothing that I'm overly stressing about because if you're hitting greens, you shouldn't be worried about the sand, right? But another thing that, like I said, I fixed in very, very minimally here in my analysis, but didn't put too much weight on. But there were a decent amount of greenside bunkers when looking at the course overview. So nonetheless, guys, hope you guys do enjoy. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace.